Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the City Council meeting, the regular meeting that's held on, let's see, the date is Tuesday, the 27th of August. The time is 8:01, and we're at the Twinsburg Government Center. Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Present.
Mr. Bonacci?
Here.
Mrs. Labby? Here. Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Okay. We're going to stand in a moment for the pledge, for the invocation that's going to be handled by David Post.
Thank you.
And then we have a special appearance from two scouts. We're going to have Nick and Kelly, Nick and Alyssa Kelly. I apologize for messing that up. Thank you. Are going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I had an opportunity to meet them at the Resource Ward 1 meeting this weekend.
Nice.
And anyway, so
I just want to add that Nick and Alyssa, they're going for another badge. Is that correct? Yep. And do you want to explain what the badge is, Nick?
Do you want your dad?
Do you want your dad to do it?
Do you want your dad to do it?
You want to explain what the badge is?
Come up to the mic.
Hey, Nick, come to the mic.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, so Nick Kelly Sr., Nick and Alyssa are working on their communications merit badge as well as citizenship in the community. So 2 badges in one. They need to attend a meeting, take some notes, talk about some topics with their counselors. But at the Ward 1 Resource Fair this past weekend, my son and I met the mayor, and he asked us to, say the pledge at the meeting. So awesome. They're going to join us and lead us in that. So thank you all for your time.
And I know you all see Nick's Rotary shirt. He is president of the Rotary this upcoming year, so
Okay.
go Rotary. All right.
All right, so let's stand.
Before I say the prayer, I'd like to say that this past weekend, Peter Brown, who is a member of the Architectural Review Board, he was on the Ethan's Green Homeowners Association with us. He was new to both committees. I had the honor and privilege of swearing him in just a week ago. He suddenly passed away, and he was way too young. He was right around the corner from me, and he was a friend, and he has young kids. And it's a tragic loss to the family and the community because he was so willing to give himself to this community. And we all need to take a step back and reflect that life is precious, and we need to focus on the things that are very important and not stress about things that are not important sometimes. And with that, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion. Allow us to grow closer as a group and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect all of our residents and businesses and our dedicated city employees. Bless those away from us, serving to protect our country. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. Okay, Nick and Alyssa, you want to come up to the... There you go.
Anytime you're ready to start.
Whenever.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job, guys. Okay, has everybody had a chance to review the regular scheduled Council of July 9th minutes?
Make a motion that we accept the minutes from July 9th, 2024 as submitted.
I'll second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Any discussion on the July 9th, 2024 minutes? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, so the minutes from the July 9th meeting pass 7-0. We also had a special council meeting on July 11th, 2024. And again, I believe everybody's had a chance to review those minutes.
Make a motion that we approve the July 11th, 2024 minutes as submitted.
I'll second. Any discussion? Any changes? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Actually, I need to abstain. I was not there that week.
Okay.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
All right, the minutes of the July 11th meeting pass 6-0. Awards and presentations. Mayor Scafidi, do you have anything for us this evening?
There is nothing, thank you.
Thank you. Audience participation.
First, we have Sheila Williams.
Okay. It was 93 degrees when I came in here. It was hot, so I'm happy that it's cool in here at this point.
It was 120 degrees in Vegas. You don't know what hot is until you go out there.
Dry heat, it's a dry heat.
I spent a summer in 29 Palms, and it's 120 degrees of dry heat out in the Mojave Desert. I know what hot is.
In any case, I want to say that we do have a new director at the Summit County Board of Health. His name is Christopher Baker, I want to say is his last name. He was our emergency person if we had a major crisis, like when we had COVID real bad. He was the one that did all the behind-the-scenes infrastructure. Young man, I'd say brilliant, a little on the different side, very much a data person. So he'll be taking over the 1st of November, I think. December 1st at the latest. So he's been sitting in on the meetings, and we've all been working with him. I brought some COVID tests to your office a couple of weeks ago, and I'm going to say COVID numbers are back on the rise. Anytime you have a family reunion or a picnic or a party, if you have a compromised immune system, I would strongly encourage you to put a mask on right now. These numbers are creeping up slowly. And if you've been vaccinated at all, you get extremely sick. And you think it's a real bad cold or real bad flu. But it's been fatal in some cases, and it's very disheartening that we've all fought so hard to get this under some type of control, and our numbers are creeping up as the kids are going back to school. And we know they carry germs, so they'll be back to see you too. So just kind of pay attention as you're out and about. We're not doing too much at the health department, looking at these numbers. Mosquitoes are creating a problem. So if you have a zapper in your yard, turn it on when you're outside, because they are biting and causing problems all by themselves too. So it's been a very interesting summer, extremely dry, and the rain the last couple of days. And we were very fortunate, because I looked at some other places. All of my friends didn't have power for almost a week after that one storm, and Twinsburg didn't lose any power. I think Solon kind of wishes they were like us right about now, because they're taking a beating with things and with all this road construction and the power outages. And I just want to say that as we're moving into the fall, let us all pay attention. And I want to tell you what Peter's wife said about our fire department. The EMS came to the house. She said that they were just unbelievable. I saw her yesterday. It's the most disheartening thing I've seen in a long time. A 43-year-old man that used to jog all through Ethan's, down Glenwood and back down the other way every day, and I'd see him coming through my neighborhood, that he just left out of here. I will call Jennifer about the information me and you talked about, but she spoke very highly. She said she just knew he was going to be okay when the ambulance arrived and everything. So very heartbreaking, and such a leader and a loss to our community, because he came in very aggressively and made all of us laugh. And I think that's something that we need, is somebody who wants to serve our community and not just complain. And he was such a data person, he could tell you all the things that were going on. Like, he was convinced fiber optics were coming down Ethan's Drive. And he asked me, I said, I have no idea what Spectrum's doing. But he paid attention, and it's a great loss to all of us. And I thank you for what you did this evening. And that's really all that I have. Ken, we'll have our meeting. 2 weeks will be our first meeting for the fall. It'll be interesting how many of our students sign up for the fitness center now that they have to pay. I wish that we could figure out a way to put it in with the basic tuition where it would cover the school year. Because when you have to make a payment every month, $20 is a lot of money when you're a college student. That might be pizza money. So it's just a thought, and I may bring that up at our meeting. And that's all I have tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Mrs.
Sheila.
Williams.
Thank you.
Next, we have Jordan Menville.
Good evening. Jordan Minville, 3374 Greenspoint Drive. Mr. Scafidi, during a July 9th City Council meeting, you discussed the interaction between a teenager and Brian Donato, which took place on November 15th, 2016. During your remarks, you referred to the officer's body and dash cam videos and stated, quote, "The videos will be available upon request for you to see with your own eyes. Should anybody want to see those videos, just contact our clerk's office and make sure you can get a copy of the videos that we saw." I did just that. I contacted Shannon Collins on July 15th and requested the videos. I received no response. I followed up with Ms. Collins on July 29th, and she replied, "I will have to reach out to the mayor to find out which files he was referencing. I do not have access to those videos." Why would you direct us to contact the clerk's office if she does not have access to those videos? I then sent a follow-up email on July 30th, no response. I sent another email on August 5th, no response. I sent yet another one on August 13th, no response. Now let me be clear, I am in no way blaming or accusing the clerk of not doing her job. I am blaming you for holding those videos for over 7 weeks. I then sent an email directly to you on August 19th asking for the videos. No response. So I've been reaching out and trying to obtain the video footage of the interaction between Brian Donato and the teenager for 7 weeks. And not only did I not receive those videos, I couldn't even get a response to my emails. You just spoke about how anyone can reach out and talk to you, but in reality, I've been trying for the past 7 weeks. I've sent half a dozen emails, and all I heard was radio silence from you. You can imagine my surprise when just a couple hours ago, I received an email from Twinsburg PD communications supervisor containing a link to a few random videos, none of which show the detention of the teenager like you said they would. You just mentioned one person who reached out and received 6 videos. I'm not sure if I'm the one you're referring to, but I only received 4 videos. Your timing is impeccable. You promised to release the videos 7 weeks ago, and then decide to send out a couple unrelated videos just hours before tonight's city council meeting. You wait until the very last minute to do something that should have been done months ago. So like I said, the videos that you did release aren't even the videos of Donato detaining the teenager. No video of Donato apprehending or detaining the teenager was released. So why won't you release the videos? The city refused to release it in 2018 to the judge, and now you're refusing to release the videos to the public in 2024. This is the exact behavior which officers Matthew Pfeiffer, Olivia Bartolovic, and Daniel Fido fought to expose and eradicate. And instead of supporting them in their efforts to make Twinsburg a better and safer community, you unjustly terminated them. This is shameful and appalling. You should be embarrassed by your actions and the actions of Mason and Company. Thank you.
That's all we have this evening.
Okay. Council communications. Mr. Barr, can we start? Excuse me? Council communications. Mr. Barr?
I was unable to attend the Planning Commission meeting, and Mrs. Walker and Mrs. Labby, I believe, both attended for me. Thank you both very much. I believe, Mrs. Labby, you're going to be giving the report this evening on that. Yes. I appreciate that. I did attend this evening's Finance Committee meeting, and I will let the chair report on that meeting. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. Mr. Bonacci?
Okay. Good evening. It's been a while since we met, so this is going to be a long one, and I apologize for that in advance. As our Glenwood Drive waterline project wraps up, I appreciate the grace and patience that the residents along that route and those that commute that way have shown. I've heard from some of you. I think I was responsive to everyone that reached out. I think we had some issues. I think we got some of the issues kind of resolved throughout that process, and I can't wait for this coat of asphalt to go down and button that up, because it has been a challenge for lots of people. Since our last meeting, I attended the Board of Zoning Appeals on July 24th. The board heard an appeal 04-2024. Ultimately, that appeal was withdrawn by the applicant, so that's basically what happened there. Participated in the Twins Day Parade. It was fun. I got to reacquaint myself with Tootsie Rolls, saw a lot of familiar faces along the way, and it was nice to be part of something positive that takes place in Twinsburg, like the Twins Day Festival. Congratulations to that committee for another successful event. August 6th, I took part in the wastewater plant that Jonah mentioned with the Environmental Commission. Big updates coming to that plant eventually. Lots of good improvements there. August 13th, went to the Waste Management's new recycling center. Toured that. Saw what was going on and the improvements that are going on in recycling. Went to the Tinkers Creek Watershed that following weekend. Their Watershed Festival had lots of information about native plants, pollinators, ways that we could help make our water supply in our creek a little bit better. Lots of folks were there taking advantage of that, saw some friends, and it was exciting. I went to the golf outing with the firefighters, the fundraiser. Our golf course is in excellent condition. Hopefully, their request for their one piece of equipment makes it out of the capital improvements, so those greens could be hopefully easier. August 24th, I hosted a Ward 1 Resource Day.
Not the greens.
Yeah,
It's a fairway. It's a fairway mower.
That was in Moraine Park at the shelter. It was great to be able to use a park in a different kind of way to connect with my residents. Key to the event was getting information out to folks. So we had information about youth sports, senior services, ways to connect with the building department. We had community partners like our scouts. We had other elected officials like our Summit County prosecutor, Elliot Kokovic, who was there and provided resources to help with security of check kiting. People could take ink off of checks and rewrite them. And he had a special pen that you can't do that with. So I have a couple extra of those. If anyone would want those, I'll work to get what I have out to the community and to get more from the prosecutor if needed. Rita Darrow, our council representative for Summit County Council, was there. She's the president. She brought a whole bunch of information about resources, especially some tax-related stuff to share with our residents. Our school district was there, the superintendent with their HR director and the business manager sharing important updates about our city schools. The library was there promoting their library of things, gadgets that we could check out to experience before we invest in it. So you could get a sous vide checked out before you buy one of those. So if you want to make a nice poached egg, you could get check out a drill, or you could get one of those high-power blenders. You could check it out from that library of things before you invest. Maybe even try some of the streaming services with a Roku. I'd like to thank our mayor and councilperson Bill Fury for being there. I realized that I put in a weekend, and weekends are prime. Other folks were out of town, family commitments, and they just couldn't make it. And I do not want to throw shade in that direction, but I do appreciate those that were there. And I appreciate those that reached out. Like all of my colleagues reached out to ask how it went. Hopefully this is going to be an annual event, and maybe a little bit better next year. Thanks to our safety forces that were there, our police and fire were there sharing information. And I probably missed somebody, and I apologize for that, but thank you. Thanks for the residents that attended too. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Bonacci. Mrs. Walker?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. On community relations, I was there, I think, best friend was there too. That's why I call her best friend. And, we took a tour of the wastewater treatment plant. And I think when I was first on the Environmental Commission, that was probably over 20 years ago, that was my first tour. And it was interesting. It was smelly, but it was interesting, to see where the processes and all of that. And if you get a chance, make an appointment with probably City Hall, and they could probably schedule a tour for you to go and visit the wastewater treatment plant, and you'll see how they filter our waters. But I will tell you one thing, wear a mask. I did attend the JEDI meeting. Mayor Scafidi was there with me, and he really enjoyed it. We had a lot to talk about, regarding the JEDI. They want to put on a movie, they want to sell T-shirts, just a lot of things. So I'll keep you all updated on when we get to a position that we know we're going to be wearing the same T-shirts and just doing things for the community. Thank you for listening, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Post?
Yes, I don't have too much tonight. I did attend the Architectural Review Board on August 15th. 6 cases that night, actually only 5, one went away, a few on signage. all new signs coming in, which is great. They're all abiding by all the new sign programs and everything, and they're really great. The new signs that come out today are light years ahead of what there used to be. Burgers to Beer is getting a roof over their patio. They're going to redo that, make it better, and there's a new home going over on Cannon Road. It's a beautiful, beautiful home, and there's a little more work that needs to be done for the approval, but beautiful home. And there's actually been a few homes that have come through the ARB recently, and it's nice to see people are taking land and building custom beautiful homes here in Twinsburg as opposed to going elsewhere. So that's really, really nice. So as far as official business, that's all I have. Council-wise, Rotary, there's an event coming up on October 19th. There's a clam bake on Saturday, October 19th, and it's put on by the Rotary. I will be catering it. If you've ever been to one of my clam bakes, it's more food than you can ever imagine. All you can eat appetizers, a full buffet dinner, desserts, includes beer and wine, tons of food, raffles, good times, music, and it's only $50 a person, which find me where you can go out to dinner for $100 for everything that you're going to get for that. So hope you'll all put in your calendars right now, October 19th.
Where's it
for the
at?
clam bake. Oh, good call. It's at the barn on Liberty Road at Doyle's place.
Oh, okay.
The red barn there.
Sure.
So if you want to see a little history in a barn, it's very cool in there if you've never been inside there. So, and that's all I have. So, thank you very much.
Okay. Mrs. Labby.
Thank you, Bill. Good evening. Twins Days was conducted August 2nd for the 4th. The unofficial count was 2,164 registered twins. They need to reconcile some other people who are actually there against their registered twins for an official count. And they are looking forward to next year where it's their 50th anniversary. So it will be a big deal for them. On August 7th, I attended a tour of Twinsburg's wastewater treatment plant with members of the Environmental Commission. The tour was conducted by Nate, and as we've said before, and when you see Nate in action in his element, you truly realize what a gift he is just to the city of Twinsburg. He has a brilliant mind. He's very intelligent, and he takes you through the whole processes from the when the water comes in until it leaves the facility into Tinkers Creek, cleaner than the Tinkers Creek water, actually.
Water coming in.
No, the water's going, shut up. We visited every step, and he shared with us his expectations for future improvements. I wanted to thank Nate, and he's left the building, so I will do it next time I see him. The next environmental meeting is Tuesday, September 3rd at 7. Also the same night, Shannon and I attended the tour of Waste Management's new state-of-the-art $35 million facility in Oakwood. This tour was equally as amazing as we saw how recycling was separated through multiple high-tech processes that ultimately concludes with the product being sent back to manufacturers to make products. It is said that a can can be recycled and back on the market as, say, a Coke can in about 90 days. So if anyone tells you they don't recycle because it all goes to the same place, they are very mistaken with where Twinsburg's goes. Yes, they are taken to the same place, but they're separated there, and recycle is all into this plant that gets recycled. And so I'm here to tell you, it is fascinating. Go see if you can, and please remember to recycle. On August 19th, I attended the Planning Commission meeting for Scott Barr. The work session included 2 final site plans that were both approved. The first for extra lease, which we will revisit later tonight when I bring the motion to council to approve, and the second for Let's Get Storage on Dutton Road, which was sent back to BZA for approval. I attended the capital improvement board meeting today, as well as the Finance Committee meeting, which were reported on. And I wanted to mention that the library is hosting an e-waste recycling day on September 28th from 9 to 2. E-waste includes computers, laptops, printers, cell phones, DVDs, et cetera. So put that on your calendar if you're interested. That's nothing for me, nothing further for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Labby. Mr. Bellin?
Thank you. Good evening. I hope everybody had a safe and happy summer, and for those with children, that the school year is off to a great start. I had the pleasure of playing in the Twinsburg Firefighters Local 3630 golf outing on August 23rd with a couple of my colleagues here. It was an awesome event. I would like to thank Joe Sugar and everybody else that made that event just outstanding that day. I'm already looking forward to next year. Also had a couple of opportunities over the break where I had to interact with Waste Management, specifically Vince, and I just wanted to give him kudos because he was very helpful in both of the issues that I brought to him. So thank you very much, Vince. Capital Improvements Board met earlier this evening. I'll let Mr. Fury speak on that. Finance Committee met prior to caucus this evening. We went through quarterly revenue review, quarterly expense review, and we also went over the financial health indicators report. If you're not familiar, there are 17 financial health indicators, and they're all green. So congratulations to Ms. Conway and her staff. Thank you very much for all your efforts that go into that. I sincerely appreciate it. Next meeting of the Finance Committee will be on Tuesday, September 24th at 6:30 p.m. In addition to that, Finance will be joining the CIB. Their next meeting is September 10th. Next Public Works meeting will be on Tuesday, October 8th at 6 p.m. here in Council Chambers. And the next meeting of the Safety Committee will be on November 12th at 6 p.m. also here in Chambers. You've heard me talk for a couple years at this point about the zoning code. Zoning code updates were delivered to the Board of Elections. They will be on the ballot on November 5th. Since the inception of this project in October of 2022, there are nearly 100 opportunities for public participation and engagement. I would like to thank all of those that took those opportunities. This is our code update. There's a lot of information, a lot of changes in there. Ms. Ziegler put this particular document together. This will be in the newsletter. It will be on Together Twinsburg. This shows not only kind of where we have come, what we've done, but where we're going as well. You can also visit togethertwinsburg.com for more information. Nothing further this evening, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bellin. Before I do any reports, I'd like to make a motion that we change the council meeting in 2025 that coincides with the second Tuesday in November to be Wednesday, November 12th, 2025. Talked about that as an option. May I have a second?
Was it the 25th or 26th? We're moving to the 26th.
We're going to, whoa. We were going to do the Wednesday meeting on 11/12, correct?
11/12/2025, if we're doing the Wednesday.
That's what I said.
Okay.
I believe that's what I said.
No, you did. I thought the second meeting in November, maybe I'm screwed up.
The first meeting in November in 2025 will be on Veterans Day, which is a holiday.
Okay.
A federal holiday.
Okay.
So we're moving it one day to the Wednesday. We had three options.
Gotcha. Okay, never mind.
So I have a
Yes,
motion on the
you're correct.
floor.
You're correct.
May I have a
apologize.
second?
I apologize.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Is there any discussion? Shannon, call the roll, please.
I apologize.
It's
Mr.
okay.
Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
No.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay. The motion to change the meeting on 11/12/2025 passes 6-1. And thank you. Okay, Park and Recs met in the government chambers on August 22nd. Deb Peltz is now the chairman of the Park and Recs Committee. She's also the chairman of the Friends of the Twinsburg Parks, which is looking at rebranding and getting a little more technical, make it easier for people to join, get away from cash, Venmo, PayPal kind of things, update a website that's being done right now, and very excited about that. Earlier this evening, Jonah talked about pollinator gardens, and Robert Coleman, who's a member of the Park and Recs Commission, who did the one that's over behind the church. I forget which church it is. Christ King, thank you very much. Couldn't see the sign in my head. The plan to, the Park and Recs is in the process of picking 4 sites throughout the city of Twinsburg to create pollinator gardens. And those will be done on city park property. So we're looking at like one over on Glen Willow, one, maybe 2 on Liberty, and I'm not sure where the 4th locator. But, and the reason they want to do pollinator gardens is, as we used to be a farming community and we've gotten, built up with all these houses, the species that are germane to this area were removed to a certain extent. And pollinator gardens help with bees and pollination and growth of plant life. So learning a lot about pollinator gardens, but that's the goal this year, is to, over the next year and a half, is to implement 4 different pollinator gardens on our parks. There'll be more information on the Friends of Twinsburg Parks. Again, they're going to relaunch, do new member opportunities, and really partner with the Tinkers Creek Watershed and First Energy. And I'm really excited to see how that goes, because what Friends of Twinsburg Park was a very active group here, and then COVID hit, and it all kind of just stalled. And looking forward to getting that re-energized. The next meeting of the Park and Rec Commission will be held on October 24th at 6:30 in council chambers. Capital improvements lit at 5:30 earlier this evening. I had the honor of swearing in Mark Haddix and Kristen Hartman as new members, and we have elected a new chairperson, which is John Blust, familiar to all of us, senior member on that. We reviewed Park and Rec's requests, golf maintenance requests, and the IT department. Next, we're looking at, I think, police and fire. No.
Public
Who are we looking?
Works.
Public Works, excuse me. But there'll be a meeting every Tuesday for the next 5 weeks of the park, or the capital improvement board. So our next meeting is September 3rd, and then the 10th, and then the 17th. And at the end of this, we'll have an opportunity to see everything that the administration is looking for to purchase as a capital improvement. 5 years, over $5,000 used to be the old definition, but we're talking about trucks, buildings, infrastructure upgrades. Again, a very comprehensive list. And then they will give us a recommendation to the finance meeting, or they will make a recommendation to the finance committee on what they feel are the best fits for that, for those choices. So again, that'll be again on September 3rd. I did attend the finance committee tonight, and I want to say, I remember when we had lots of yellows and maybe a red on there, and it's really nice to see it's all green. The city of Twinsburg's in great financial shape. I was commenting on our statement of cash that it's never looked this good to me, and I look at this every month. So congratulations to Christina and the mayor for running such a tight ship with council. Thank you. An opportunity to attend the senior picnic, which is one of my favorite events of the year. It's always held in the end of August. This year it was held closer to the building and not in the amphitheater because we're still doing some construction over there, but it was packed. It's just a wonderful event with door prizes, and again, the seniors there. I attended it with the mayor. Laura Seifert does such a fantastic job with our senior programs. It's a true pleasure to be there, and again, that's one of my, this and their Christmas party are 2 of my favorite events. I get to be Vanna White and pass out door prizes for a while, so it's kind of fun. Anyway, nice job to them. I attended, as Mr. Bonacci said, his Ward 1 Resource Day, and I'll tell you that it's been a while since we've had some ward meetings here, and you did a lot of work and put a really nice program together, and kudos to you. Well done, Chuck. Tomorrow, there will be a blood drive at the Hilton Garden Inn. I'm scheduled at 1 p.m. Can't do the morning tomorrow, but the Hilton Garden Inn is going to be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. for a Red Cross blood drive. Blood has fallen by more than 25% this year. They're in critical need. If you are able to, please consider donating blood. If not tomorrow, there's a donation every day within 5 miles of here. So please consider donating to the Red Cross. One of the people that was at the Resource Center with Mr. Bonacci was Laura Leonard, who runs our library. She wanted us to promote a program that she is bringing in a company for called, presented by Braver Angels. And this will be on October 3rd, 2024 at the library at 6. The doors open at 6 and it starts promptly at 6:30. The program is Skills for Disagreeing Better, Civility and Civics, how to discuss politics and other issues without being angry at each other. And I'm going to attend. I think Chuck's also signed up, so I'm looking forward to that. On the October 9th, they're also having a seminar on understanding how the electoral college works right before our election. And that will be presented by Carl Quattro. You can register by calling the library at 330-425-4268, extension 2, or simply go on to the Twinsburg Library website and view their calendar. And you just click on it, and it gives you, just ask for a name, email address. These are free events. And, I just got amazed when we spent time with Laura and the bookmobile at all the things that I never thought a library did. If you needed a hotspot for a week, you could take it out. I mean, that's just different. I just think of books and videos, and there's so much more there that is really a service to our community, and they do a really good job. I would like to congratulate Mick Hobart, Captain Mick Hobart, who just retired as a Twinsburg fire captain, as well as Gina DeVito Staub, whose last day is this Friday. Good friends, long careers, and we want to thank them for their service to the city of Twinsburg. That would mean that we've turned over the entire captain group of the fire department in the last year. Don Simon went, I think, about 8 months ago. So I did attend the police Victorian golf outing. Again, Brian Donato runs one of the best golf outings we did. Raised over $12,000. All the winners donated the money back. That's an extra $1,000 to the cause. That's neat. I attended the fire outing. Joe Sugar did an outstanding job. Money from that goes both to the McTarian Fund and also to the Jake Neese Fund. Jake Neese was a Summit County Sheriff, Twinsburg High School student, and I had him on a baseball team. He was a drummer. He's a great kid, and he died in on a motorcycle accident a year ago. And it's tragic, and it's nice that there are multiple entities to honor Jake. And I'm glad that they did that. And that's all I have this evening. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Fury. Yeah, I did have a report, pretty lengthy one, so unfortunately, I didn't bring it with me. I forgot it, so fortunate for you. Thank you for coming. Thanks for the pledge. We really appreciate you. Yes. But I do have a comment that I want to make. I want to address something that we get calls on, and then I want to yield part of my report to Mr. Vizana because he would like to address council as well. We've received many calls from residents with frustration about these release the record signs. They're being placed all around our city, often in the cover of night and on weekends, and just littering all of our public spaces. I want to remind everyone that our court codified ordinance clearly state that no sign may be placed on any curb, sidewalk, post, pole, bench, hydrant, bridge, wall, tree, or other surface located on public property or across any public street or right-of-way. These signs lack content and did not convey a clear message to the broader community. Instead, they seem to speak only to a small group of individuals responsible for their placement. Such signs are not only violate our local laws, but also distract from the appearance of our city, especially during significant events that attract visitors to Twinsburg. They create an unsightly environment and frustrate our residents. Moreover, these actions burden our city staff, who must field complaints and spend valuable time removing these illegal signs. Let me be clear. This is not about freedom of speech, does not grant them the right to ignore the law that govern our city. Unfortunately, those placing these signs are well aware of the ordinance but choose to disregard it, acting as though the rules do not apply to them. Our ordinance explicitly states that signs cannot be placed in the right-of-way. Despite this, some continue to disregard the rules and then express frustration when their signs are removed. This behavior is unacceptable and must stop immediately. Should you find a sign in your yard that was placed without your consent, please continue to inform us. While the city prefers to give verbal warnings before issuing citations, it's becoming clear that this leniency is being taken advantage of, and issuing citations may become necessary. I really want to thank all the residents that are on the frustrating side of this issue. That thank you for their cooperation, and thank you for their concern on Twinsburg and keeping our city clean and welcoming like it always has been. I really want to get that message out there to them. You know, it really does. It takes up a lot of our time. Our building department, you know, it's the first thing they have to do every Monday. They have to sweep the whole town. We have been busier this year in building than we've been in many years. And these inspectors have a whole lot of things to do rather than chase illegal signs out of the right-of-way. Are these the only signs there? No. There's other signs in the right-of-way, and we're removing those as well. So I really ask the people that are doing this to, you know, halt. And you want to put them somewhere that's legal, go put them in somebody's yard that they want them. But to put them in the right-of-way is just not acceptable. And we are gonna remove them, and we are going to start to enforce the law. So that's all I have, really, myself tonight, and I'm going to yield the rest of this to Mr. Vizana for his comments.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And to the council, so the reason I wanted to address you tonight here, there were some comments made tonight by, I believe it's a Jordan Melville or Melville. I know that because as many of you know, I have the responsibility of reviewing the public records requests, the responses, and all that to make sure they comply with the Ohio Public Records Act. But Mr. Melville made a couple comments tonight, and I wanted to address those for council's clarification. So first off, at least according to the administration and myself, I believe 6 videos were released relative to the incident that the mayor spoke about, said at the July meeting.
Correct. Yes.
So I will, Mr. Melville said he thinks he only received 4 today. I'll double check on that. But importantly, as with everything that relates to public records, whether they be audio, video, emails, documents, contracts, and so forth, the city's committed to getting the documents out. Now, I will tell you with dash and body cam footage, which is what we are dealing with here, the footage has to be reviewed in real time by our communications department. And then by law, there are certain redactions that are needed to be made within dash and body cam footage, depending on what you see. But again, we've been working as hard as we can to get those out, along with the other hundreds that we've produced this past year to our residents and some non-residents that have asked for records. So that's point 1. Relative to his comments. And then there's a second point that I think definitely demands some clarification and context. I think if I heard him correctly, he said something about a 2018 court hearing and the city refusing to provide the video at a hearing. I haven't, I don't think, talked to council about this at a public meeting, but I did reach out to the city's outside counsel who handled that case back in 2018, and I was told that the videos, same videos that we're seeking now to, process and get out as fast as we can with the appropriate redactions, were provided that same day or the next day after that to the plaintiff, and that was, as I understand it, was a part of the plan. Now, the hearing, I believe as it's referred to from time to time, was actually a status conference between the parties. The lawsuit had just been filed, and they were meeting to discuss scheduling. Now, I will tell you, I've been a lawyer for more than just a couple days, and parties don't bring evidence with them to case management conferences. That would be highly unusual and would, frankly, it's just nothing I've ever seen. But the important part is that the city, its outside counsel, did provide the videos, like I said, that day or the very next day to the plaintiff's attorneys. So I think that clarification is very important for counsel to hear. Finally, I don't think you often hear me make remarks to this end, but I do want to, and I was moved by the mayor's comments earlier tonight about inviting our good residents to telephone City Hall to reach out to the administration. I personally, just in, as many of us know, 3 of our former employees filed a mandamus action against us for records. Just in that action alone, I've reviewed 209 separate public records requests and provided responses. Responses may be audio, video, last chance agreements, investigations, polygraph reports, and so forth, which I have provided on behalf of the city and have reviewed for redactions. And then I will note, just for council's edification, oftentimes the Public Records Act and the law prevents us from disclosing information. That's when you hear a phrase such as redaction. At times we do avail ourselves of that because it is the appropriate move to protect the city's interests. And when we do redact things, at least under my management, we always supply legal support for each individual redaction in the transmission to the requester. So all that being said, I want to re-echo what the mayor said. Please, to our good residents and the council members, if you have questions about documents, and frankly, it has happened, people will reach out to us, that aren't necessarily primary players, and, employees, former employees, news agencies. They'll reach out to us and ask us for the documents, and we're ready and willing to keep answering the public records requests and getting the documents out to anybody that's interested. So at that, thank you for your time, council. If you have any questions on any of the status of our public records, please give me a call, council, and we can talk about it.
Thank you, Matt.
Okay.
That's all. That's the end of my report.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh, I'm done, but I do have one report.
It's not a report, but I just want to give some residents who may not have gotten the city newsletter some information. If you had sustained property damage from storms in early August, the Summit County Fiscal Office is offering some real estate tax relief. So you can visit their website. It's fiscaloffice.summitoh.net, or the phone number is 330-643-2704. There's an application on their website that you have until December 31st of this year to fill out. The property damage does not include trees, landscaping, fencing, or other personal items you have in your yard. When you do fill out the application, they will send out the appraisal department to review any type of structural damage that you have, but they will also cross-reference any type of building permits that you have submitted to the city, village, or township that you live in. But you are eligible for a reduction in your property taxes based on storm damage. So just wanted to put that out there for residents, whether it was flooding, tornadoes that came through earlier this month.
Have we reached out to the residents on Timothy and Hawkins to let them know that specifically?
I let a couple personally know.
We could, on those email blasts, let them know that. That would be great.
Yeah, on this week's update, I'll give
If you
them
could include that, that'd
give
be
them
good.
that information.
Thank you.
Some already have it, they've asked.
Okay,
And we've
good.
provided it, but yeah. We're getting a larger list now, by the way, too, because some people, I found out, are not on our call list or on our newsletter list, and now they're wondering why they're not getting them. And so I had one resident over there who was forwarding our messages to them, And I asked her if she would, in her message, please send it to them, tell them to give us a call or email me, and we'll get them put on the list. And so we've signed quite a few people up today.
Good, but that'd be great for them.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, and that concludes the mayor's report. Next, we're going to legislation. Ordinance 92, 2024.
An ordinance requesting the fiscal officer of Summit County, Ohio, to accept certification of the delinquent sanitary sewer rentals and water fund maintenance charges as compiled and placed on record in the office of the Twinsburg Finance Director and declaring an emergency.
This time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 92, 2024 in its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. The reason for the suspension of the three reading rule is there's a deadline of September 6th. Any further questions on the three reading rule? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay, suspension of the three reading rule passes 7-0. Now I make a motion to adopt ordinance 92, 2024 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second. Yield.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any further discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 92, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. Ordinance 93, 2024.
An ordinance amending Chapter 111 of the codified ordinances of the City of Twinsburg regarding council representatives and declaring an emergency.
Okay. I make a motion to table ordinance 93, 2024. We discussed this earlier. This happens to do with rules. We just didn't get this done this summer because there's been challenges getting together with the law director. So, thank you, gentlemen, for your service this evening. Appreciated it.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.
I will second that.
Thank you, Mrs. Labby. Are there any questions on tabling 93, 2024? Okay, Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Okay. So ordinance 93, 2024 is now tabled. When we table an ordinance, it kind of just sits it out to the side, keeps it on the agenda on the bottom. We'd have to vote to bring it back, and we can do that once we get the work done. Okay? Ordinance 94, 2023.
An ordinance accepting the bid of CRS Metalworks Incorporated for the 2024 Fitness Center dehumidification units and roof replacement and declaring an emergency.
Okay. This time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 94, 2024 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. So the reason for the suspension of the three reading rules is that we want to get this installed and pushed forward. This is the pool fitness, this is the pool repair that we've talked about for 5 years, and we really need to get this going. Is there any more discussion on the emergency? Or three reading rule, excuse me. Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay, suspension of the three reading rule passes 7-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 94, 2024 as an emergency. Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Okay, so this is award for the dehumidification unit and roof repairs for CRS Metalworks in the amount of $2,056,000. We're going to go finance this over 25 years, and there is a agreement with the Twinsburg schools to share in the amount of $561,870. Is there any further comment or discussion on 94, 2024?
Yeah, you pointed it out earlier. This is something that we've been talking about for the majority of my time on council, probably 6, 7 years now.
Okay.
this is something that needs to be, if we're going to keep that pool open, this is something that needs to be done. This is not something that we are choosing to do. This is an absolute necessity.
Okay. Anybody else? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 94, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. Ordinance 95, 2024.
An ordinance accepting the amount and rate as determined by the Summit County Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county fiscal officer and declaring an emergency.
I have a question. Am I passing this on an emergency, or am I reading it 3 times and then passing it on an emergency? I'll do it either way. It doesn't matter to me.
You can do it either way. It just needs to be to Summit County by October 1st.
I make a motion that we suspend the 3-reading rule. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, so I'm suspending the 3-reading rule so that we can put this on an emergency as it's written. Is there, and to tell you the truth, this is an annual event. What this does is we have 3 mills of property tax, 0.3 for fire, 0.3 for police, and these are the pensions. And then we have an operating fund, the 2.4 mills the residents passed a couple years ago, which generates about $2.34 million in property tax that comes back for the support of our safety forces. And we have to have this in by October 1st. Again, this is something we do every year. This is not special. So, did we vote on the emergency yet?
We have not.
Shannon, would you call the roll unless there's any other discussion on that?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci? Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay, suspension of the 3-reading rule passes 7-0. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt 95, 2024 as an emergency. May I have a second?
I was second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. Is there any further discussion? Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Fury?
Yes?
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, so ordinance 95, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. I'm going to do the same thing to 96, 2024, because they're basically the same thing. So ordinance 96, 2024.
An ordinance authorizing the advancement of local taxes from Summit County Fiscal Officer for the tax year 2024 payable in 2025 in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code Section 321.34 and declaring an emergency.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to suspend the 3-reading rule. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Post seconds. The reason is we want this to be passed on an emergency to mirror 95, 2024. Are there any questions on the emergency, or on the waiving the 3-reading rule? Okay. Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay. So suspension of the 3-reading rule on ordinance 96, 2024 passes 7-0. This time I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 96, 2024 as an emergency. Is there a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. Any further discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 96, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. Ordinance 97, 2024.
An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $2,075,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying costs of constructing, reconstructing, and equipping the roof of, and acquiring, installing, and equipping improvements to the HVAC systems related to the indoor swimming pool at the Twinsburg Fitness Center, including all improvements, appurtenances thereto, and related building improvements, and declaring an emergency.
Okay. This time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 97, 2024 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Bellin seconds. So this is the bond or the notes that would support the roof that we passed in the last couple ordinances. And we need to get the financing in place. Is there any other questions or discussion on the waiving of the three reading rule regarding 97, 2024?
Just want to waive it so Shannon doesn't have to read it. That one again.
Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay, so the suspension of the three reading rule passes 7-0. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 97, 2024 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Is there any further discussion on the funding for the pool ceiling and water packs?
Just to give everyone a little heads up, so that there's a 6% interest rate that is included as a placeholder. 6% was the maximum. The number that we got back this afternoon was around 3.5, so much better.
That's a really good rate right now.
It is.
And the Fed hasn't dropped rates, have they?
No, not yet.
Okay, so should we wait a month?
No.
Okay, fair enough.
No.
All right. Shannon, are there any other comments? Any other discussion? All right, Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 97, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. Ordinance 98, 2024.
An ordinance accepting the bid of Runzik Excavating for the Tinkers Creek Interceptor Sewer and declaring an emergency.
Okay. This time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 98, 2024 in its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Post seconds. The reason for the suspension of the three reading rule is because we want to get the construction done as quickly as possible. Are there any other questions or discussion on the three reading rule? Shannon, call the roll, please.
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay, suspension of the three reading rule passes 7-0. Now I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 98, 2024 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. This is to award a bid to Tinkers Creek Intercept and Sewer to Runzik Excavating, and the bid was $407,356. So this includes a parallel sanitary sewer line along Tinkers Creek from Glenwood Drive to the East Idlewood Park, which will provide additional capacity, minimizing the risk of sanitary sewer overflows in that area. Are there any other questions on 98, 2024? Okay, Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 98, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. Ordinance 99, 2024.
An ordinance amending the current year appropriations for the various general and capital funds accounts as established in Ordinance 114, 2023, the appropriation ordinance for the City of Twinsburg for the year 2024, and declaring an emergency.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and place ordinance 99, 2024 on its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Mrs. Walker seconds. The reason for the suspension is to do the transfers immediately so that we can balance our books. Is there any other discussion? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay. The suspension of the three reading rule for ordinance 99, 2024 passes 7-0. I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance 99, 2024 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Now second.
Mrs. Labby seconds. This will this amends the appropriation for city council, for the ARPA fund, for the police and fire pensions, and the fitness center fund. Are there any questions? Shannon, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Ms. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Fellon?
Yes.
Ms. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 99, 2024 passes as an emergency, 7-0. Resolution 100, 2024.
A resolution authorizing the mayor to execute and the revised Summit County Intergovernmental Memorandum of Understanding for Job Creation and Retention and Tax Revenue Sharing and declaring an emergency.
Okay. Even though this is on an emergency, we're going to read this 3 times, so this stands on its first reading. Ordinance 101, 2024.
An ordinance establishing membership fees for Kent State University Twinsburg Geauga campus students at the fitness center.
Okay. We're doing a first reading on this. You want to get this out of the way, too?
I think if something can have the 3 readings, it should.
It's fine.
I agree.
Okay, then it stands on its first reading. My only thought, that if we want to put this in place since school's starting, if we wait, so if you don't put it on an emergency, and you're a Kent State student, and we read it 3 times, it's going to take you into October, and then we're going to wait another 30 days. So you're basically going to eat half of the semester before you offer them this rate. So
What are they currently at 42 for right now then?
I'm not sure what they're at right now, but I know that this was the discount that they were trying to incorporate into this rate for students that were full-time. So again, if you guys want to read it if the majority of council wants to read it 3 times, that's fine. I'm saying that school started in college last week, so if you're a full-time student, this is going to drag you out for at least two months.
I mean, that's valid, 100% valid. I agree with that. I mean, did Jennifer write it up that she needs that as an emergency?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They can put it in place and send them an email tomorrow.
It was not written as an emergency, but from what she said, it sounds like they do not have an agreement currently.
I mean, I'm sure
rates with them.
our law director will correct me multiple times as I try to throw this together, but the way I'd do it is I'd amend it to be an emergency, then I'd waive the 3 readings, and then I'd adopt it as an emergency. But how would you do it, sir?
Well,
Here we go.
This is 10 minutes.
He's only getting 3. I think I can do it without him, but I don't know.
I personally believe that you have to make it actionable before you amend it, so therefore you would suspend the 3 reading rule tonight first. And then at that point, you'd move to amend it to add an emergency clause, and then you'd
Be
state.
happy to keep you, I got it. We're good.
But, all right, I'll just stop it this way, it's good.
I mean, I'll get you there, okay?
All right.
All right, let's just do it. Can I make a comment before we do that?
You can,
Were there-
sure.
Thank you guys for comments.
What is the emergency, though? Is it to make sure that?
You weren't paying attention. You obviously,
Make sure these new students. that
so
were-
school has started at Kent State,
Because of the date. of
and
school
it's a $20 fee for full-time students. So if we don't adopt it as an emergency, and we read it for another month, and then don't pass on emergency, then we have to wait 30 days. So you're going to take September and October out. They're going to find out about it in November, then they're going to go to Christmas, and the semester's over.
I just wanted to make that clear for the record, because I'll have to put that into it after the fact, so that, thank you for clarifying that.
All right, the only thing I'd like to say to this is, I don't have a problem with $20. I hope that the city will recognize that these students are students for multiple years, and I would like them to have $20 throughout the summer. When they graduate, they can go to $42 a month, but as long as they are a freshman, a sophomore, or a junior, I would like to see them have $20 year-round, as they are still students, and they should still get a student rate. I don't like going to $42 for the summer and then back to $20. They're a student, they have an ID, they should do that like all these other places do that I know of, and just give $20 in my
All right,
opinion.
that said, I agree with that. Rather than pass it tonight, we should have that conversation with Jen.
So Jen did talk about this, and she said the way you get this is you have to show that you're scheduled for as a full-time student.
Right.
So if you're not a
That's not what they
full-time
were saying.
student, but he might not be correct, because I heard her say that the way that they were going to check this was to ask people to show the schedule, to show that they're a full-time student. You get a student ID. I still have an Indiana Wesleyan ID. It might not be valid, but, I mean, I have a student.
42 specifically in the
That's
summer.
the normal rate for everybody else.
No, she said they're only going to get the $20 during the school year.
When they're a full-time student, they get the $20 rate.
No, that's not what she said.
I have a suggestion.
That's,
Why- I have a suggestion.
we can
Why-
always pass emergency next
Why,
time.
yeah, why don't we pass it on an emergency next time? We'll talk to Jen, get clarification, and we'll go
No
from there.
worries. Have you read this?
Yes, I have read that.
Okay, then it stands on its first reading. Thank you. Resolution 102, 2024. I'm just trying to be efficient here and knock stuff out.
A resolution appointing one member to the Board of Tax Review and declaring an emergency.
Okay. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules in place. Resolution 102, 2024, in its third and final reading. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay. Mr. Bellin seconds. The reason for the suspension of the three reading rule is we have a new member to be sworn at the next meeting. And is there any discussion on the suspension? Okay. Shannon, would you call the roll?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Okay. Suspension of the three reading rule passes 7-0. This time, I'd like to make a motion to adopt Resolution 102, 2024 as an emergency. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Was there a name that we were going to insert in here? I don't have it with me.
Yes.
I thought it was on the email.
I thought it was on the.
It was in the name was on the thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I don't have that open.
Hold on, I got
If
it
somebody
right.
can give it to me.
Which one is 102?
102, yes.
Crap, I just had 102.
Donald Roselle.
Donald Roselle, thank you.
Donald Roselle.
I'm sorry, Mr. Roselle.
2 L's.
Okay. All right,
Yeah.
all right. I'm a little tired, so I'm a little lost right now. So Shannon, you've read it. Have I made a motion? I did put this on an emergency.
Pass
Okay.
the emergency.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to amend Resolution 102, 2024, to include the name of Donald Roselle. May I have a second?
Second.
Okay, Mr. Bellin seconds. Shannon, would you call the roll on the amendment to add Donald Roselle's name?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Okay. So the amendment passes 7-0. At this time, I'd like to adopt Resolution 102, 2024 as amended.
Second.
Okay. Shannon, would you call the roll?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Okay. That concludes the legislation portion of our meeting this evening.
Mr. Fury? If I may, I heard from Mrs. Bennington, and she said that it's going to take time to get everything together anyway. That's why there's no emergency on it, so
No worries.
it's no hurry,
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mayor.
she said.
You're quick. I mean, I was like, whoa, we're going back?
No.
Jen, what you doing, man?
She's watching. Hi, Jen. She's out there.
Thanks, Jen. Jen, I was working for you. Okay. Next item on our agenda is unfinished business, new business, and miscellaneous. Let's just go down the line. Mr. Barr?
Good evening, Mr. Fury. Welcome back. Glad everybody had a good summer. I heard a lot of the same rhetoric tonight that I've been hearing about the police stuff, which is look over here, but don't look over here. And just because you don't like the outcome of an investigation doesn't invalidate the investigation. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you, Mr. Barr. Mr. Bonacci.
Thank you for the opportunity to amend my earlier report where I forgot to mention tomorrow there's a Board of Building, Zoning, and Appeals meeting at 6:30 in these chambers, and that I also forgot to mention that we did have our commissions, our front-facing commissions and committee of JEDI, Environmental, and Recreation at the Ward 1 Resource Day, and they were incredibly engaged with residents.
Thank you, sir. Dr. Walker, what can we do for you? Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Post?
I just want to thank Matt Vazana.
Yes.
Because you have done so much in this past month. I don't know how you're keeping it together. You know, the release of the records, it's annoying to me. It really is. All of it is annoying. And I know some people are going to say, you know, probably quote me that I'm saying that, and that's fine. The reason it's annoying is you have released literally over 200 records yourself personally, not including anything, you know, we responded to hundreds. So I don't understand what records we're not releasing when you've released literally hundreds. And it's just silly at this point. And it's just silly. It's just noise to me because we are doing what we're supposed to do. We are releasing records and as fast as we can. How many times have we put things off, like you said, this summer, because we can't get hold of Mr. Vazana to do, like we'd had to do the council's things. I mean, there are times I've texted you, and you didn't even text me back because you're just so busy. And I text Sam, and he's like, dude, Matt's busy, leave him alone. I'm like, okay, I get it, you know. But he's so busy. I want to thank you for everything you've done and all the positive news we've received lately. Congratulations. It's well-earned, well-deserved, and it's great news. So thank you. You do a great job for the city, and everyone knows it. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Labby?
I'd like to thank Nick and Alyssa for doing an outstanding job, coming and listening and taking notes. So it's nice to see the scouts are active and willing to participate. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Bell?
Thank you. It's 9:16. I just have 47 quick points.
I'm okay, go for it.
Nothing further this evening. Thank you.
47.
This is the file I've been waiting to read. I have nothing this evening. Mayor?
I just want to welcome council back. Thank you for
Thank you.
coming back. We appreciate you, and we absolutely need you, and you guys are a big part of this community, as you well know. So thank you. Hope you had a great summer, and that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Vazana?
Nothing further from me tonight.
Go ahead.
I need to make a motion here. There are two other,
The one over here?
yeah.
Okay, you can do it.
Should I have done it when I was talking, or should I have waited?
After I'm finished.
Okay, go
You
ahead.
could,
go
actually,
ahead.
you can do it whenever, but.
Carry on. Carry on, I just wanted to move it along. Go.
Mrs.
Just don't forget it.
I'm
As long as we make them.
not going to
Oh, I
forget
don't
them.
forget, Shannon, I'm just trying to,
I think
Okay.
that's what you're supposed to read in your unfinished business.
Okay, so,
that's what I thought.
I know. Mrs. Conway, do you have anything else? You've had a great night so far.
I just want to say thank you for passing the note ordinance so quickly and efficiently. It has been a process since I've started here, but the real work begins for me tomorrow because our pre-note sale call is tomorrow afternoon. So it will be a busy month.
All right, good luck with that.
Good luck.
Mrs. Collins,
Nothing, just
I'm
don't
doing
forget-
my best.
Just don't forget the motions.
Okay. Well, next was to talk about the Veterans Day thing, but I jammed that in about an hour ago, it seems like. So that's out of the way. Are you doing a liquor license?
No, I'm doing the site plan.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Okay, so
I will.
then go ahead, you
Okay.
go first.
I'd like to make a motion that City Council does not oppose the transfer of liquor permit from Riser Foods Company, DBA, Twinsburg, Get Go, number 3224, to Get Go Operating LLC, DBA, Twinsburg, Get Go, 3224, on Hayden Road, and authorizes the clerk to submit the form to the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
Any
so
discussion?
Okay, so Mr. Barr, you're going to run that? Go for it. You got it.
Oh, is there any discussion?
No. Shannon, call the roll.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
It should be Haddon Road.
That is correct.
I said Haddon Row, though. I didn't
Okay.
say that.
Okay, sorry.
They'll fix that.
I think I did, right?
So,
Okay.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Yes. So the motion passes 7-0. And are you also doing the motion to confirm the final site plan for the trailer leasing and storage facility?
Yes.
Okay, go for it.
I'd like to make a motion confirming a final site plan for a trailer leasing and storage facility at 8589 Darrow Road as approved by Planning Commission at their August 19th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Barr seconds.
Any discussion?
Nope. Call the roll.
You want to go home?
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Fury?
Absolutely.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yeah.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Oh, brother.
Okay, so the motion passes 7-0. There are currently two open board and commission seats. Excuse me. That is looking to fill. One is the JEDI and the other is Architecture Review Board. If you have any interest, please apply at the city's website, mytwinsburg.com, and complete the application. If you have any questions, please reach out to the clerk, Mrs. Collins. She'd be happy to assist you. I have Mr. Scafidi and Mr. Zana highlighted on my sheet, but I'm not exactly sure why.
Neither are we.
Okay.
End of the report, like.
Okay. Are we doing an executive session?
Yes.
Okay.
Brief, very brief.
It's fine.
Yeah, and we have a suggested motion here.
I make a motion that, I would like to make a motion to enter an executive session, to discuss matters pursuant to the Ohio Revised Code 121.22G, 1 and 3, personnel employment of a public employee or a public official and pending litigation to a conference with an attorney for the city concerning pending legal action. May I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Bellin seconds. Shannon, would you call the roll?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Barr?
Yes.
Mr. Bonacci?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Okay. The motion to go into an executive session passes 7-0. Once we come out of executive session, I'll briefly report and close the meeting. There'll be no other business by the council this evening. Thank you very much. Good night.